Crash. Hello, huge movie fanatic Nate, stopping on by once again, coming at you for a movie review. This particular review is for a movie that I knew nothing about until I don't know if it was last year or this year, whenever the Blu-ray, was announced basically that Full Moon was going to be, doing a Blu-ray of this particular release. Yeah, it seems like I probably heard about it this year, I would imagine. And I don't know if the Blu-ray is out. Like, I think the Blu-ray is already out if you want to get it from FullMoonDirect.com, but it's not coming out until just, I don't know, it's almost coming out soon now on Amazon if you wanted to get it through Amazon. But I'm coming at you to review the motion picture Charles Band, directed movie from 1977 by the name of Crash! Exclamation point. And the reason I say that is because the title Crash, it actually has an exclamation point, after the word crash as a part of the title, as in not just crash, but crash! So this movie obviously, well, it's not obvious, but I'd never seen it. I never heard anything about it until, last year or this year, whenever the hell they were, doing their, the Full Moon was doing the Blu-ray release and stuff like that. Like I say, I imagine it's already out, coming out soon on Amazon.com. I was actually able to, it's really cool on Tubi recently. I generally, just because it's so nice and stuff during the summer, I generally don't stream stuff in the summer, but since I plugged the streaming stuff back in the fall, I realized that now on Tubi, there's a whole frickin' sub-channel on Tubi for Full Moon movies, which is so frickin' awesome. You can probably see all the Puppet Master movies. I mean, pretty much, I don't know, very close to almost everything Full Moon. Don't quote me on everything, but you can see a lot of Full Moon and Charles Band and Empire stuff and this and that kind of stuff on this for free on Tubi in this subcategory of Full Moon movies or whatever. So I was really delighted because I was interested in checking out this movie Crash from 1977 because I'm not a huge fan, but I like the movie that he produced in the 70s. I don't think he directed it, but he produced it by the name of Laser Blast. I think he did that after this one. I would regard Laser Blast as a better movie, I guess, I don't know, I guess I like Laser Blast more than I like Crash, but, for me, Charles Band nowadays means just schlock crap, but, it's in the 70s, ironically, right when he was starting out, it almost seemed like he had the biggest budgets of his career, had the ability to do the most things at the very beginning of his career versus the end, where he's filming in one room and the movie's an hour and 3 minutes long and just a bunch of gobbledygook nonsense now. But I wanted to see Crash, but ideally I didn't want to pay for it. I kind of stopped buying from FullMoonDirect.com. It just seems like it takes forever to get the stuff, and every now and then I used to do their 50% off sales in July or Christmas or Valentine's Day or whenever the hell it was. But, these days I don't know. I didn't want to blind buy Crash, and I was interested in Crash, but not enough to blind buy it or seek it out. But, basically I was really excited this fall when I saw Crash! Exclamation point on Tubi. So I just recently checked out Crash. This movie, if you don't know, is from '77, starring Jose Ferrer and Lolita herself. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Maybe it's Sue Lyon. Maybe you pronounce it Lyon. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. And you've also got in one of his many classic frickin' just cameo bit scenes, John Carradine, of course, in all his arthritis hand, glory and stuff, makes an appearance in this movie. A couple appearances in this movie. So bear with me because this movie was kind of a mind wipe. I only saw it once on Tubi, and it should be said that the version that's on Tubi, this is one of these widescreen kind of Panavision movies. So the version on Tubi that I saw, and probably the version that's the only, the version that's still there under the Full Moon movies subcategory on the Tubi, is the frickin' probably the recent HD scan of it. So I got to see the full widescreen version, probably the HD Blu-ray scan of it, which was really cool. I mean, it was cool to see it, not so much the movie is cool. So I just want to make a warning that, I might not be able to remember all of the details as I've only seen it once, and it was kind of a mind wipe at that. But from what I can gather with the movie, Jose Ferrer plays this, this guy in a wheelchair who hasn't always been in a wheelchair. He's got this, I had no idea that, Sue Lyon was going to be Jose Ferrer's wife. She, of course, this is like, I don't know, almost, I guess, kind of like maybe 15 or pushing 20 years after her, portrayal of Lolita in the movie with the same title, of course. And I never seen her in anything else. I kind of thought I guess she had one of these careers where, one of her first movies was like the big hit, and then she just had the downward spiral after that, relegated to being in Charlie Band movies and stuff. But she basically plays the wife of this rich guy, Jose Ferrer, who wasn't always in a wheelchair, but some recent accident or something put him in a wheelchair, and for whatever reason, I don't know if he's bitter, I don't know if he blames his wife for whatever happened to him or whatever, but for whatever reason, he wants to get rid of her. So he's got this, I can't remember exactly how it goes. The beginning of the movie starts with just a random crash of a couple kids, freaking driving down the road in this really cool, 60s or 70s, might even be like probably 60s, van or something. They just get forced off the road by this vehicle, this convertible vehicle in this movie that's like a possessed convertible vehicle, and just forces them off the road. And there's so many freaking explosions in this movie, you're going to get sick of the explosions by the end of the movie, as I did. But this is basically what you'd call a 70s just car exploitative explosion, just, garbly-gook kind of a movie where it just exists for basically slow-mo car crashes and explosions. And I guess back in the days, as he said in his commentary of Laser Blast, I mean, you could just basically film a movie in the 70s and just have, every 10 minutes or so have a car explosion, and that was all you really needed to do. So that's what he did with Crash! Exclamation point. After that scene, one of the first scenes with Sue Lyon is her just in what you can easily call just a filler scene, where it's just like her going around this rummage sale at a drive-in theater, which is really cool, seeing a Californian drive-in theater with all the, it's all paved, because where I am in Minnesota, the drive-in theaters don't have paved. It's just like gravel slopes and stuff for the drive-in theater. And where I am in Minnesota, it's always been cool to see like Drive-In Massacre and stuff like that, these movies that feature a drive-in that's in California, and to see the paved drive-in, all that where the cars park and stuff like that to watch a movie is all paved. But Sue Lyon is going through this rummage sale at this drive-in theater, which this scene is probably 2 or 3 times longer than it needs to be, but it's a filler scene. She's basically just looking around at stuff. She comes across this really, goofy looking just thing. I don't know how else to pronounce it. It's just like a thing with just a, like just a figure thing, with maybe like one eye in the middle of the head or something like that. Brings it home and gives it to her husband, and I don't understand the car being possessed, because the car was possessed before she finds this thing, which later on in the movie I guess she uses to possess the car. So I don't understand why the car was killing someone at the beginning. Like I say, I saw it once and it was a mind wipe. So I don't understand. I'm not all clear on all the details, but anyway, what ends up happening is there's this, she gives this to him, and he's kind of pissed off for whatever reason. I can't remember why he wants to get rid of his wife. But later on in the scene, she's driving around in a convertible, and this dog jumps from the side of the road into the convertible car when she's driving, and kind of attacks her and causes her to crash. I think that was I think he made the dog do that, so he's basically trying to kill his wife. Maybe he's some kind of voodoo expert himself, trying to kill his wife with using this dog, voodoo on this dog, to control the dog's mind to kill his wife. She didn't end up dying in the car crash, so she spends like Sue Lyon. It's kind of ironic, because in the movie Lolita, of course, she was all just a beauty and stuff, and she's still young enough to be cute and sexy and attractive in this movie. I would argue she's a little thin in this movie for my taste, but it's funny how like this, beauty from a movie that's famous for just being like her sex symbol, face and all this and that. It's funny how she spends like the middle third of this movie with her face all bandaged up and covered up from the car crash, scars and stuff like that. So basically, from what I can understand of just seeing this movie once and have it be a mind wipe, is she basically, I can't remember if she ever, it's just so goofy. Is she the one? I don't even know if she's the one. I mean, she's controlling the car at the end. I don't know if this car. I don't. You know what? This is kind of gonna be kind of a half-ass review because I'm not 100% sure. It almost seems like the car is on its own and she co-ops it halfway through the movie or something like that. But there's this kind of cool black, 60s, 70s convertible vehicle. They do a really good job at this driverless vehicle, but you can see later on that the convertible top's always down. You can see these two slits on either side of, behind the passenger and the driver's side, where they probably just put one on the passenger side to even them out, but obviously the driver probably sits in the trunk more or less and can see through the slit behind the driver's seat. I would imagine that's probably how they pull this off. But the driverless vehicle scenes in this movie are done really well. So I mean, that's basically what you're seeing this movie for, is the driverless vehicle carnage and stuff. So I regret I regret to inform everyone that this is going to be kind of a half-ass review, in the sense that I can't exactly recollect everything that happens in this movie. I know that I think the husband tries to kill her. She doesn't die. It seems like maybe the more I'm thinking about it, the car, for whatever reason, throughout the majority of the movie, maybe the first half or 2/3, is on its own. I don't know if the car's coming back for this guy who wronged it. I really don't know, but I know that she ends up co-opting the vehicle at the end with her glowy red eyes, and she ends up, I think, finding out that her husband attempted to kill her, and then he basically ends up back, kidnapping her again and puts her in the sauna, and she ends up co-opting this possessed car, with the help of the little trinket or whatever. I think that's a part of the reason she can control the car. Ends up taking control of the car at the end of the movie and basically, coming to kill, using the car telepathically with the voodoo, little figurine thing to basically save her and go run her, invalid husband off a hill, push him off a hill in his wheelchair, and then basically the car just drives right onto him and blows up. But I apologize. Generally I'm more, I just wanted to see. I thought it'd be interesting to see how this review goes, like only seeing it once and having it be a mind wipe. I think I pretty much covered most of it. One thing I don't want to forget to mention is, if this movie is just hilarious for just, how like a horror movie you'll just have kills, and preferably the kills are spaced in a way that's, they happen every now and then, so you don't get bored with the movie or whatever. That's that's kind of what this movie is, except for in the place of kills, it's car crashes stuff. And I think they kind of like how maybe you want your kills to get better and better as your horror movie goes on, or something like that. The degree in which the stunts, they kind of get cooler and cooler to a certain extent throughout the course of the movie, maybe more grand. Like at the very beginning, they just push a van off the side of the road and blow it up, and then so it's like things get, the stunts get a little more, I think, intricate and stuff as the movie goes on. And what's so hilarious about this movie is that you have all these car crash things that happen throughout the course of the movie, in between boring dialogue scenes, and there'll be some random person driving, and then the car will run them off the road and blow up or whatever. So they have all of these car crashes and blow up scenes. Later on, like the last third of the movie, they do a frickin' review of all of the car stunt scenes. They show them all again with this goofy ass like flashback haze filter over the screen. I can't remember. I don't know if it's some character is remembering these, if it's Jose Ferrer or Sue Lyon. I don't know who the hell's remembering these car crashes or whatever, but they show all of the car crashes twice in this movie, which I guess if you're seeing this in the theater and you don't get to rewind like the car crashes, because at first I was like, oh my god, they're not going to show all of them over again, are they? And of course they do. And then I'm thinking how pathetic that is, just to just for filler, just to achieve the running time, obviously, is probably primarily what that was for. But then I'm like, to give the movie a little bit of credit, I'm like, well, this was made and came out in the 70s. They didn't, if you're seeing it in the theater at the time, you don't have the ability to rewind the crashes and the car explosions and the car stunts. If you happen to like some of them, maybe seeing them, to give the movie some credit, or to give, to not be too hard on the movie, maybe seeing all the car stunts again in the last third of the movie as a kind of a recap, car stunt recap, it's kind of a cool way in the 70s, if you happen to see this at a theater, to, like, oh, cool, I like that crash, let's have a look at it again. But I never seen anything like that I can remember in a movie where, it's a car crash movie and all of the car crash scenes are revisited again at the end. I thought that was so ridiculous. I'm not too sure the beginning one with the van going off the road and blowing up is revisited, but I think everything else after that, all the car crash stunt scenes and stuff were shown again a second time, which was hilarious. I kind of, I discovered Laser Blast in my 20s. Maybe I'd like this more if I discovered it in my 20s. It didn't blow my ass off. I don't feel like I have the need to, like buy the Blu-ray of this or anything. The only thing about it that makes me actually really curious to buy the Blu-ray is, of course, Charles Band, having directed the movie, does do a commentary, and I really love hearing Charles Band talk about movies, particularly ones he directed and stuff. I really like Charles Band commentaries. The only problem is, I guess, apparently he does a commentary with David Duchovny, and I don't really like David Duchovny. Like, I don't really like listening to him talk, so that's kind of a deal killer for me. Like the commentary for, I talked about this in my Laser Blast movie Blu-ray review. The commentary that he and his brother do for Laser Blast is awesome. And how cool is it to have a commentary with Charles Band and his brother Richard Band? That's worth just the cost of the Laser Blast Blu-ray alone, in my opinion. But I'm not too crazy about listening to David Duchovny. I don't know why the hell, Charles Band couldn't just talk by himself or something like that. I don't know why he had to have him join. Maybe he helped him out in some small way, got coffee to him on the set or something. I don't know why David Duchovny's in the commentary, but I guess that'll pretty much be my review of Crash with an exclamation point. I'll go 1 star out of 4 stars for Crash exclamation point. It's basically like a lot of Charles Band, movies, save for Tourist Trap. I know he didn't direct it, but he kind of like executive produced it. It's kind of like, it's not very remarkable. And I don't, thinking about, it's interesting when I compare this to Laser Blast. Like, what is it about Laser Blast that I like more than Crash? I don't know. I guess just like I like the character of the guy in Laser Blast, and he's got this cute little girlfriend, and I don't know. I just like, I guess, the nothingness of what happens in Laser Blast more than the nothingness of what happens in Crash exclamation point. You get so sick of seeing like Jose Ferrer's character's house in this movie. They show it like, I don't know what, 11, 12, 13 frickin' times, and cars, them driving in and out of it. It is funny to see Jose Ferrer, play this invalid wheelchair bound guy and driving up to a place and hobbling out and pulling the wheelchair out of the back seat and getting into the wheelchair and stuff. I always thought, actors probably, I don't know if they like, I guess it depends on the actor, but I always wonder if actors like doing wheelchair scenes or characters and stuff. And it's so funny because it's like, I don't know, it's like, why do you need it's not like you're paraplegic if you can drive, with your feet and get to a location and get out with your 2 feet and open the rear door and pull out your wheelchair and sit in it. It's kind of funny, but yeah, there's no TNA in this movie that I can remember, no female, sensualness or anything like that. Oh, one thing I do want to remember, thinking of female sensualness, is this one woman who I'm pretty sure was in Bill Urbain's Giant Spider Invasion. The blonde was actually was like a nurse and a kind of a character that's kind of recurring in Crash as well. So she, like so many people from the 70s Bill Urbain movies, probably, after being in some Bill Urbain movies, probably headed out west to Hollywood in attempts to, make it big. I don't know if Stafford Morgan is from Wisconsin, or, if he came to Wisconsin just to be in some Bill Urbain movies or what, but a lot of people from the 70s Bill Urbain movies would end up making their way out to California to hopefully have a better career. I mean, I don't know if George Buck Flower is from Wisconsin or if he just ended up there to make some be in some Bill Rebane movies. I don't know. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling at this point. That's my best review that I can do, having seen Crash, exclamation point, only one time, and having it be kind of a mind-wipe movie. It's basically boring conversation scenes, and then there'll be a car stunt, more boring conversation scenes, car stunt, and, you know, just so on and so forth. So check it out for Tubi if you can. Hopefully it's, you know, be on there long enough for some of you people who watched my review to check it out if you want. It's more or less a snooze fest, but I mean, if you're into car crash stunts, there's this one cool car crash stunt where it's like this vehicle pulling a boat. You know, this semi-trailer comes out and just for whatever reason stops, and someone crashes into it. Then a car pulling a boat and a boat trailer crashes into that car, and some car crashes behind it, sending the boat, you know, catapulting up into the air and crashing through the, you know, the tractor trailer truck trailer. Oh man, you can probably see these stunts on YouTube or whatever, but you know, and I'm not gonna say that there's not cool car crash stuff, but at this, you know, point in my life, it's just like, yeah, maybe when I was a kid I would have liked this stuff, but you gotta put a little more in a movie these days for me to, other than car crash stunts, to get my interest. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching this video, and as always, we'll catch you on the next one.